Hello and welcome to the Traybakes and More Cooking channel. I'm Callie and today I've got a variation on a classic tray bake for you. So these are cornflake caramel squares, and as you might suspect there are cornflakes in them. So instead of the traditional shortbread base, this has got a base with cornflakes, some desiccated coconut, as well as your traditional butter and sugar and flour. So it's crumbly, it's crunchy, the cornflakes add a nice flavour and crunch to this. Usual caramel layer, usual chocolate layer. Don't divert too far from a good thing. But here we go, cornflake caramel squares. Right, as usual, before we start to talk about ingredients, we do some preparation. So I am preheating my oven today to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 180 degrees Celsius. That's for a conventional oven. Adjust your temperature if you have a fan-assisted oven. I have my usual tray bake tin, my little 20cm square tin, 8-inch square tin, lined with some baking parchment. We're working with caramel today, so that really makes things much easier for cleanup. And that's just sitting off to one side. And then, I'm not going to claim the whole tray bake is super simple because there's caramel, and I know sometimes people can be a little bit fearful of caramel, but the base is super simple. You are literally putting dry ingredients in a bowl and mixing it with melted butter, and then banging it in the oven. That's it. And my dry ingredients today are crushed cornflakes. They are cornflake caramel squares after all. So coarsely crushed cornflakes, just put those in a bowl, crush them with your hands. That's really easy. You don't want it too fine, you don't want it too coarse, but break up all those flakes. You don't want any big bits there. Cornflakes, sugar, desiccated coconut, and then I have some plain flour and some baking powder. If you have self-raising flour, you could use self-raising flour instead, but self-raising flour, a little bit less common here in the US, so I tend to just use plain flour and baking powder when I am baking. That's it. These are my dry ingredients. I'm just going to mix that with some melted butter, press it into my tin, and then into the oven, and that is the base done. I'm just going to make a little well in the center here to pour in the melted butter and then mix it all up again. So just stir the butter through until you see, there's no little dry patches of mixture anymore. Just like this, and then we're going to pour it into the tin. Right, so just press everything down there, even get in there with your hands. Almost sometimes just pressing stuff down with your fingers is easier. You get a better feel for it. Just make sure your hands are clean. Right, there we go. It's getting a bit dark in my kitchen, I think, now, so hopefully you can see this. There we go. There's the base. Told you it was easy. Now this is going into my preheated oven. Okay, after about 15 minutes in the oven, this is done. It has firmed up. It's starting to go a little bit darker around the edges. It was pretty golden when it went in the oven, so there's no real color change here unless you overcook this. But I'm going to leave this to cool now because I don't want this to be too warm before I put the caramel on there. But let it cool for a little bit. It doesn't have to be completely cold, but let it cool for a little bit, and then we'll get on with the caramel. And now we get on to the fun part, the caramel. I mean, the base is fun as well, but come on, it's caramel. Right, in my saucepan, I have condensed milk, I have butter, I have sugar, and I have golden syrup. If you don't have golden syrup, honey, maple syrup, something like that will work. For these, old school recipes, the recipe said a small tin of condensed milk, which I don't think you can buy anymore. The tins are all much bigger, so you want about half of one of those 400-gram tins of condensed milk. Take a look on my website if you want something to do with the other half of the tin. And all I'm going to do is melt this. Melt it, stir it frequently over a gentle heat until everything is melted, the sugar's melted, the butter's melted, everything is a nice, thick, delicious smelling caramel. Stir it frequently, gentle heat. If you are all worried about this, just lower the heat, okay? Just keep the heat really, really low and stir it frequently. Don't walk away from it because that's the moment that it's going to catch or stick on your saucepan or something like that. But anyway, stir it frequently, gentle heat, let it bubble for a bit until it thickens, and then we'll pour this over the base. Okay, hopefully you can see this. Caramel is thickened up. It has darkened slightly. We're not looking for this to get too dark. It's just a nice golden color. You can see it's thicker. So as you're cooking this, you'll see it get sort of a little bit thinner first. As the butter melts and the sugar starts to melt, it will look quite thin. And then as it bubbles away for a little while, it will get thicker. It will get slightly darker, nicely golden. It smells wonderful. And you can see as just looks thicker there as you're stirring it around. This is, this is the way we do things. It just looks thicker, so it's done. And it will thicken up more as it sets and as you put it in the fridge to set. So Caramel layer is done. Now, yeah, so as a guide, it will take, you know, it will take a good 15 minutes. It may even take longer if you have your heat like really, really low. So, you know, just stick with it, bear with it. It's worth it in the end, honestly. So here we go. Pour this over the base into the fridge to let this set, because we don't want to pour the chocolate over still warm and still gooey caramel. We want to let this set before we put that on top. But there's the caramel layer done. Here we go with the final layer for these cornflake caramel squares. Just plain melted chocolate. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, little drizzle of white chocolate, whichever you prefer. I've got milk chocolate here today because that's what I prefer. Just either melt it in the microwave in short, like 30-second bursts, stirring frequently, or in a double boiler, so that in a bowl, on top of a saucepan that's got a little bit of simmering water at the bottom of it. Don't let the water near your chocolate, don't let the water touch the bowl. Cover your caramel layer that you have already previously cooled in the fridge with the chocolate, and then just let this set, and then you cut it up into squares and you have cornflake caramel squares for something a little bit different. So keep an eye out for more recipes, subscribe to my channel, tell your family and friends, and I'll see you again soon on Traybakes and More.